Hello and welcome to Setter's Raid. My name is Leon, and you may know me as Setters. You can see it here on my screen. I'm here to talk today about Clan Boss and Killable teams, and we're going to go through just a handful of things to help you be able to A, build an unkillable team, B, maintain an unkillable team, and C, we're going to go through and try to improve your unkillable teams also. So to do that, we're going to look at, first off, what are unkillable teams, and then we're going to look at the different heroes that you can use, and then some of the pitfalls and where people tend to fall over. You will hear in the background a fan. I'm in my game room, and this game room, as you can see behind me, I have 158, if you include my son's, over 200 board games. And we are doing, because of that, the room gets hot quick, so I have to keep a fan on, or else I'll overheat my computer that I'm recording with. So let's get going real quick into Clan Boss. So while we're loading up, I'm just going to quickly run into Clan Boss, and I'm going to start so we can keep this going in the background while we go over all the different Clan Boss teams. And I've already done my Ultra Nightmare. I am able to one key Ultra Nightmare. You can see my team. It's pretty standard. That's my favorite team of all teams. And the next video I do is going to be top 5 Clan Boss teams, and you'll find out why it's my favorite. But on this video, we're just going through just the basics of Clan Boss. Once again, here's my Nightmare, and then my Brutal I have not done yet, so we'll do that real quick. We'll buy a key. And this is my Clan Boss team. I have Warcaster and Helicath as my 2 guys. I run a 2-to-1 comp, and what that means is my 2 unkillable guys, which is Warcaster and Helicath, they both run twice every time that the Clan Boss goes once. I have this completely set up on full auto. I will take a little damage here in the beginning, and then by turn 3 or 4, there will be no damage given to any guy on my team. It'll get fully into tune after the stun. And the stun should occur on Vermin Lord. This is my favorite setup because Vermin Lord does a ton of damage with his poisons and bombs. Newt does a ton of damage with his main move. And Helicath, believe it or not, even though he doesn't put out that stun or that unkillable, he reacts to the unkillable and hits. And so Helicath does a lot of damage also. So as you can see here, we're just starting to get into tune. And there's my guy, Helicath, and he goes. Now next round, everybody goes twice, and Warcaster is going to put out the unkillable. But this shows you how an unkillable works. It just keeps going back and forth. Now I've mentioned a few different types of teams, and I'm just waiting for the unkillable here to show up, and then I'll go on to the next one. And Warcaster's next, and unkillable. Boom, everybody's safe, and we continue on, and it just repeats through that loop. Helicath saves this time, Warcaster saves next time. Just keeps going back and forth, and Grishnak, the Vermin Lord, takes the stun every single time. So on this, you cannot allow Seeker, you cannot allow Warcaster or Helicath to take the stun. It has to be either of your DPSs. In my case, Vermin Lord, because he puts so much out there that it's always full, so him taking the stun is actually helpful, so that way we don't overfill the clan boss. But anyways, on to the basics of this. The first thing that you'll know is there's multiple different kinds of speeds. And as I mentioned once before, 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, those are all valuable speeds, including 4-to-3. They're all used. The easiest one to use is 1-to-1. And in this case, I actually have a team here to show you what a 1-to-1 setup looks like. Here you can see everybody goes once. I have Dracomorph set at 121 instead of 177. So that way he skips. And the reason for that is I have him planned as a stun target. If we need to have a stun target, so that way he holds on to the unkillable, so he doesn't die, and he won't last all the way through round 50. 1-for-1 allows you to do things. I like using Emic Trunkheart, but there's a lot of guys that you can use. So the speeds, as I said, all four of you guys can be 179 or 176, 179. Your unkillable guy has to be the slowest and must be the slowest at around 175. Could I do a 178 and four guys at 179? Absolutely. It's not. Is it going to make a difference? No, it's not going to make a difference. The notes, if you're using a stun target, not a cleanser, you should have max out at 121. In this, I use both a cleanser and a stun target. And the only reason I wanted to do that is just to show you Doom Priest, you make your fastest one, so that way he's at the top of the order every time, and is cleansing your team at the top of the order every time. No, you don't have to put out a cleanser if you don't want to. But this is a 1-for-1, very simple comp. The next one is 4-to-3. Very, very similar. Here you can see that Doom Priest is set up. I can replace Sir Nicholas with Helicath. It isn't going to matter. All we're doing is we're setting up so that way Helicath puts out his A3 and or Sir Nicholas on the second turn so no one takes damage on the stun phase. Doom Priest cleans all the stuns off. Works great. But Seplar Sentinel also puts out the block debuffs, so he can prevent debuffs. So here he prevents this debuff and this debuff. Works great, especially on a 4-to-3 team, because you do your fourth one on the first turn, so you're always resetting. So you can set up your A3 to run here, and you'll hit 1, 2, so you'll prevent all these debuffs from happening. I enjoy a 4-to-3. That was my first team to set up to do this. Now, if I were doing this, I would do something more similar to this. And I can explain why in just a minute. But first, let's go into our 4-to-3 reasonings. Whoops. 4-to-3 speed. You keeping your main unkillable guy between 246 and 248. And then the rest of your guys, your DPSs, are at 174 to 178. If you choose to have a cleanser, you want to run it around 188, so that way they can clean at the top. And Your block debuffs, you want at 74, so that way it's at the bottom, adding it just before the stuff occurs. So it's up to you how you want to do it. Now, the team that I put out here is something called Heart Eater. It's one of my favorite. You have Emic at 245 to 254. Maneater, who provides not only unkillable, but also block debuffs. So that way you don't have to worry about taking a debuff. And that is between 239 and 244. And then the rest of your guys are 170 to 178. I like this, and I have mine. I like to set up with a burner, a poisoner, and a damage by max HP. Now, on this guy and this team here, this is a team I've actually used. Fane does an awesome job of poisoning, but on top of the poisons, which is even more important than the poisons, Fane puts out a reduced defense and also weaken on the with his A3, and Coldheart does his A3, which does max enemy. It's damage based on max enemies max HP, and because of that, and with Fane, this does a lot more damage. And then the same with Geomancer. Geomancer will get that buff also on his A3, and Geo is my burner. The reason I like Fane poisons and debuffs. The reason I like Geo burns and reflects damage. Coldheart could be somebody else. To be honest with you, I love my Newt, GNUT, and I would probably have him in there, but keeping this as friendly as possible, I put in Coldheart, but this could also be Royal Guard or other guys that do damage based on max HP. This sets me up to do as much damage as possible. I think with this team I am able to two key Ultra Nightmare, and it's with pretty much all lower level guys. The only one that's not a lower level guy is Emic Trunkheart, who is somebody that you can get, who you were able to get through the shards. The next speed is 2 to 1. This is my favorite team. This is the team that I currently use. I can show you the speeds here. I have mine all set up. 244 for Helicath, 269 for Warcaster. My opening DPS, which is Gishnak, is 225. And my closing DPS is Newt at 249. And I have Seeker set at 253. All these speeds are adjustable up and down by about 5. But use the Deadwood Jedi calculator to validate that before adjusting it. But there's so much flexibility in this comp. Right now I have Grishnak at 225. If I decide, hey, they came out with the affinities changed to green or magic or force, whatever, I can flip Ishnak out with Doom Priest, and now I remove all that stuff and I don't have to worry about it, and I'm still doing a ton of damage. Helicath is reacting on both Warcaster and Helicath's block, so it's always reacting, so it's always doing damage. You're going to see this pattern show up that you can do this over and over and over again, and you're going to get a lot of damage. I like Seeker coming in and adding increased attack, though does not use attack, he uses a defense. But Helicath and Vermin Lord both use the attack to increase their damage, which is awesome. It's what we need. So to me, this is my favorite comp. I still can increase not quite a bit. I don't have him fully, stacked up yet. I don't have the gear for it. I'm working on it. Once I get that gear completely done up, I'm expecting to increase by about 30,000 or 30 million total. And if I can go up by 30 million total, that should put me right close to Myth on my team, who's doing 120 million. I should be right around the 115, 120 million, and that's kind of my goal to get to. So we're pushing there. The last speed, and it's the one that I like the least. I've used it before. I've gotten 132 million with this exact team. Is a 3-to-1 comp using a Myth Air combo. It's what my lead guy is using right now. Myth is using a 3-to-1 combo when we come back to here. When this is all done, you'll see that Myth is using the 3-to-1 combo, Myth Air, and it does a great job. The reason I don't like it is it's very picky. It's very touchy. For example, if I replace one player in this, I do, instead of Newt, I go with Vermin Lord. It screws up the speed comp and everything's off. Everything has to be just right. You can't mess with anybody. You can't mess with anything. You have to have it set just right. All the speeds are within one. And you can see here that the speeds are very exacting. They're not that high. They're good, but they're not that high. And you notice everybody's going 3-to-1. Eris 1, 2, 3. Demitha 1, 2, 3. Seeker 1, 2, 3. Deacon 1, 2, 3. Newt 1, 2, 3. I have everybody going 3-to-1, meaning I'm putting out damage like you wouldn't believe. Seeker is amazing. Deacon is amazing. Eris is amazing. Eris is adding speed, removing debuffs, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Eris cannot be stunned. You're using Deacon as your lead. If you notice, we have the 19% speed aura. That's coming from Deacon being the lead. This team also has some delays in it. You have to have Deacon hold off on his A3 for 2 turns, meaning you cannot set this up manual. You have to go through 2 turns and then manually do it, or then hit auto. Seeker has to delay his A2 once in order for things to work. If you don't, once again, you'll notice that it screws up all the speeds. Nothing works right. This is very, very sensitive. Things can happen to different guys. Like Demitha, if you put on the wrong speed and you have the wrong sets on him, you can adjust the speeds and screw up your stuff. Your true speed changes. So if you can see here, true speed's at 308.38. Let's go to Eris instead. Here you can see it's 283.86. But if I change it to perception plus 2 speed plus perception, I went up to 284, and it can affect later on down the range what's happening. So you want to be very careful with what sets you're using to get your speed. Yes, you have to get your speed, you have to get there right, but you got to be careful, especially with when you're running 3-to-1. So most people are not going to be running 3-to-1. Most people aren't going to be running 2-to-1. Most people are going to be running 4-to-3 or 1-to-1 to start out. So the thing that you need to start working with, the key guys for Clan Boss, you're going to need at least one of these. Okay? So you're going to need a Helicath, Trunkheart, a Sir Nicholas, a Demytha, a Maneater, or a Warcaster. The one that I like the best, if I were just completely honest, I really like the combination of Emic and Helicath together. Emic reduces turn counts. He does more than just unkillable. And Helicath I like because Helicath does a counterattack. And I love his counterattack. He does more than one thing. Demytha is a buff extender, and I like that too. Demytha is a very solid person, and if you have Demytha, you can use Demytha by herself as your only block damage person to keep moving forward. Some of the guys that are great that are not your normal leads that you can get fairly easy are Fane, Geo, Doom Priest, and Under Priest. Fane is awesome because she puts out poison, and she also does weaken and reduce defense all in the same turn. And if you put that together with Demytha, it stays out there permanently. So, or not Demytha, I'm sorry. If you put that out there with Emic, it stays out there permanently. Because it's a 4-turn cooldown, Emic kicks in, makes it a 3-turn cooldown, and they're out there for 3 turns. So Fane keeps that out there permanently, and with Emic making this just a deadly combination. Geomancer puts out burn. But not only does he put out burn, but he also puts out a reflect on everybody who, whenever the clan boss is burnt by Geo, has to be by Geo, when he attacks and he's burnt, everybody reflects back at the clan boss, which makes Geo very powerful and very useful for your team. Doom Priest obviously is a debuffer, but what most people don't realize is not only does he remove the debuffs, but he also puts out a increased attack, which is very useful and very helpful. So he's kind of a 2-for-1. All these guys are multitaskers. And then Underpriest Brogni puts out a shield, which is awesome, but unkillable is then needed. But Brogni also does, on his A1, a burn, and on his A3 he puts out a block debuffs. So you could use Underpriest Brogni to block debuffs and burn the clan boss. So those are the guys that I really like. Doesn't mean that these are the best guys in the world. They're the guys that I like. Of these guys here, you're going to be able to get these guys fairly easy. Once you get one of them, even a single Warcaster is enough to build an unkillable team. Is it easy? Oh no. Is it possible? Absolutely. Because you can build a 3-to-1 team using Warcaster plus a Painkeeper and reducing the turn count on Warcaster. So you're always putting in kind of doing a Demytha type thing. Demytha all by herself, it's a 3-turn cooldown on her single turn block damage. Guess what? You're going to have block damage out there. Maneater is a 5-turn cooldown, but once again with Painkeeper you can put that out there, run a 4-3 team, and you can run what's called budget unkillable. And if you want to see that, you just go to Deadwood Jedi and type in budget unkillable and you'll find it. It's fairly easy to find. So let's come back and catch on how we did. We ended up doing 106 million, which is pretty good. Here you can see that Helicath did 16 million, Seeker did 16 million, but Newt and Gishnak together did 66 million. They're a pretty solid combo. I'm very happy with them. The thing that I wanted to show you real quick is we want to run into some of the pitfalls that you can run into. One of the pitfalls that you can run into, you remember when I was showing the 3-to-1 team, when you have your when I put in Vermin Lord over the top of Newt, what happened? It got out of sync. The reason for that is the type of gear I was using. If you're using reflex gear, if you're using relentless gear, if you're using retaliation gear, all of these can throw off your move counts and can throw off the speed boost or whatever else is on your guys. So as a rule of thumb, if I'm running 3-to-1, I avoid all gear sets that start with an R. I know it's stupid, but I just do. Can you get away with it? Absolutely. Have I seen people get away with it? Absolutely. I just avoid it because it's such a picky thing. It's so hard. I just let it go. The other thing that is important is masteries. People have said this 100 times. To me, the most important masteries is going right down this support. You can hit Master Hexer, and use that one instead of Sniper. But I go right down here and I do this tree on the offense. I use it on all of my guys. Every once in a while I do some defense. There's a few to avoid over here. But to be honest with you, if you look at all my guys and we go through Helicath, you're going to see masteries. I avoid these guys and these guys. I did go outside and come a little goofy on this for this bad boy, Merciful Aid. But outside of that, I try to keep everything in that straight line. Emic Trunkheart, you're going to see straight line. I didn't need the accuracy on him. I went with the max HP for him because he's a HP champion. And as I said, you just go right down the line with all the guys that you use all the time. Fane, I don't have any masteries on her yet. I am putting masteries on her. But Warcaster, you'll see straight line. You'll notice that on Seeker, once again, straight line. Because I'm trying to avoid these ones here, these three, and these two. This one, Rapid Response, Cycle of Magic, and Spirit Haste I avoid. I've been told that you don't need to avoid Cycle of Magic, but I've just got it in my brain, so I avoid it. And these two, Arcane Celerity and Evil Eye, I avoid those two also because they have mess with turn meter and screw with things, so I just leave those alone too. Those are the ones, as I said, I will go with Master Hexer. But those are the main things to avoid on Clan Boss. Once again, my name's Setters. If you guys are interested at all in asking for help, hit me up on Discord. I'm out on the Discord channel, and or hit me up in YouTube. I'm more than happy to sit down and go through things with you, look at certain things, and see if we can find what's causing your pain. The main piece that you'll want to keep an eye on, Deadwood Jedi calculator is pretty close to dead on. And so I am very excited to continue to use the Deadwood Jedi calculator to help people out and make sure that everything runs well. A lot of times I'll keep this up as I'm running my Clan Boss team, so that way my Clan Boss team can run through and update. And last thing I wanted to show you, because I just wanted to make sure I explained, Myth. This is a 3-to-1 beautiful team. It does a great freaking job. The Mythic comes out every third turn and puts unkillable out there. Seeker does his turn meter manipulation. Eris, she blocks everything so no one gets hurt. And he's got a couple other ones that do other work for him. And I just wanted to point out that 3-to-1 does work well. You can see that Myth has it working awesome for him. I just prefer the 2-to-1. I'm still getting good damage. I mean, even on that Ultra Nightmare, I'm still getting 1 key. He's getting 1 key also. He's at 112. I'm hoping to go up 30,000, so I'm hoping to go up to 113 when I finish up Newt with all the build that I need to do. And I'm hoping to catch him. Myth, know that I'm on your tail. I'm trying hard. We'll get there. But this is Leon, or Setters, or whatever you want to call me. I'm happy to sit down, go through stuff with you, reach out to me. And this is Leon signing off, saying thank you very much.